Peace and blessings, Omo House. Jareen here, coming at you with another monthly installment. And I hope all is well in your reality. It's been a very eventful last couple of weeks for me. For those of you who spend time in Omo House, you know that I have officially, finally, been ordained. And so that is a wonderful, wonderful feeling for me. Anyway, I don't know how much that will change the Omo House flow, but I can tell you it does ground my spirit in a wonderful way just to know that all of the efforts of the last 6 years have come to this wonderful place in my life. So as you know, we have been enjoying, reflecting, making use of a wonderful tool called FaithWorks for the last 6 months. And so this is, from my understanding, the final installment, unless we continue on with FaithWorks as a partner. But there's some other things in the works, as I shared with a few folks back in the day. I'd love to incorporate some wonderful other programming. So I know that we're looking at doing a book this summer, and we're looking at the white privilege curriculum created by the United Church of Christ. So there's a lot of work to be done. And so with or without FaithWorks, we will continue having a powerful conversation. So this month, the wonderful folks over at FaithWorks have asked the question, what does it mean to be a people of joy? And the thing that's interesting is, as I was looking at the material, I realized that they were doing something very transformative, very challenging around this concept of joy, especially as it's viewed in the West. So I look forward to the conversation for the rest of the month, and let's see how we engage with it. And just for those of you who pay close attention to this sort of thing, yes, normally the conversation around FaithWorks comes out in the beginning of the month. However, a few folks inboxed me and said, you know, a lot of stuff happens in the Cyber Lounge, and if I'm not there in the first week or so, there's so much material that kind of pushes it to the bottom. Could you possibly wait a couple weeks and see if it makes a difference? So I agreed, and let's see how this goes. So as you know, I tend to respect the writing, and unless I feel inspired to freestyle, if you will, I just kind of honor the conversation that was written by FaithWorks. So what does it mean to be a people of joy? So the conversation begins with a very wonderful quote from the book of Genesis. Actually, one of my favorite quotes. I tend to have conversations about it and AKA preach about it regularly. And it's the quote that said, "And God saw everything that God had made, and behold, it was very good." And then it's, I felt like my spirit was going to say something. Yes, I think I'm going to say something. So I think what I'm going to say is that I think often when we are looking at that creation story, we often forget that part, right? Because Judeo-Christianity often emphasizes that human beings are made in some sort of evil or, sinful way. And I think if we look at this quote seriously and we say, that the Creator said it looked at everything that it had created and it was good, like if humanity is also part of that creation, then maybe it's not about being born in sin, but being born in goodness. And so I love the fact that it starts there. Anyway, wonderful quote by someone named Barbara Kingsolver. And it goes like this. In my own worst seasons, I've come back from the colorless world of despair by forcing myself to look hard for a long time at a single glorious thing. A flame of red geranium outside my bedroom window, and then another, my daughter in a yellow dress, and another, the perfect outline of a full dark sphere behind the crescent moon, until I learned to be in love with my life again. Like a stroke victim, retraining new parts of the brain to grasp lost skills, I have taught myself joy over and over again. Be careful this month. Our theme of joy is deceptive. One could easily see this is a way to end the year on a light note, but there's deep work for us to do with this topic. Some religious perspectives begin with the idea that this world is broken, a place of misery and pain, toil and struggle. They, the religious folk, suggest that our job is to survive it, indeed transcend it, through sacrifice, a confession of our own brokenness, and an industrious Protestant work ethic. So hence joy is received for a time far off and found in a heaven granted to those who are said to have earned it. And yet there are others that just don't see it that way. They look out and, like the God of Genesis, their response is, "Behold, it is good." The problem, according to this spiritual view, rests not so much in a fallen, irredeemable world, but with our limited perspective. Heaven, as Yeshua proclaimed, is right here on earth. Our job is to see it and take pleasure in it. And far from being indulgent or seductive, this work of pleasure and delight is the key to humanizing us. As Barbara Kingsolver's words suggest, joy has the power to transform us. With one long, holy stare at a single glorious thing, we are suddenly reconnected. Balance is restored. We see the world not simply as brutish, broken, and dangerous, but also as gentle, surprising, and woven through with a love that will not let us go. This simple act of sacred staring is not about distraction. It's about achieving a wider view. It's about stepping back and seeing all life as a gift and home. When we feel joy, we don't simply feel delight in one tiny piece of the world. We feel welcomed back in, connected once again to the whole. In this sense, as many have said, the opposite of joy is not sadness, but isolation and disconnection. Joy doesn't just make us feel happy. It restores relationship, and not just relationship to the world, but also to the divine. Theologian John Cobb describes God as the all of everything. Joy places us within that whole, not outside it. In this way, the experience of joy is very much also the experience of God. So friends, are you ready for that? Are you ready to be welcomed back in? If so, look around. There are dozens of glorious things inviting you to return. So that's the writing introduction for this month's reflection. What does it mean to be a people of joy? And I think the only thing that I would add is that the reason I found this so profoundly wonderful and beautiful is because I think what's under it is this idea that how we see our humanity and our purpose and our relationship to being alive really has a lot to do with our own perception. So here, what the author is asking us to look at is, if we see ourselves as being somehow sinful and not worthy, and there's all this stuff that we have to do in order to connect to the divine, that becomes sort of the foundation for our religion and our belief about who we are and who God is. And, it doesn't leave a lot of time to feel connected, because we're so busy feeling isolated, not only from other human beings, but from the divine. And so it's like the religion that we created sort of emerged in this gap, right? The gap between us and God, the gap between us and another human being. And so it's almost as if this concept of joy is a bridge. It's a bridge back to the divine. It's a bridge back to other human beings. It's a bridge back to the things that make us inspired and passionate. And it's interesting because in Eastern philosophy or tradition or religion, faith, whatever you want to call it, there is this concept called darshan. And darshan is about the gaze, gazing upon the holy. And this idea emerges that if I understand the holiness of my gaze, and that the holiness of my gaze is going to fall upon the divine, that there's going to be some sort of relationship emerging. And so it's almost as if when my eyes sort of connect upon the divine blesses my eyes, and then I am now able to use my eyes to look upon the world. And in this new look upon the world, everything is holy, everything is sacred, and everything is connected. And so what I love about this is that joy is not, ha ha ha, I'm happy, right? Joy is an energy that grounds me. Joy is an energy that transforms me. Joy is the bridge between you and I. Joy is the connection between myself and the divine. So, there's nothing that we have to do. I don't have to work for this alleged salvation. All I have to do is be present and expand my vision. And in expanding my vision, everything is included. There's nothing that is left out. So, that's all I got to say about that. Anyway, look forward to all the links and the definitions and all the wonderful, playful things that happens when we journey with FaithWorks. So peace, love, and light. And I look forward to seeing you in the lounge. Peace.